All right. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Janelle. If you are a returning subscriber, hello. And if you're new here, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You'll love it here. I promise. This channel is lit, okay? I just started it not too long ago, but it's growing. Creating my own little family out here in the YouTubeverse. So thank you so much to all of y'all that's been rocking with me so far. And again, if you're new here, welcome. On my channel, I create content that's related to flight attendant vlogs, travel, wellness, and lifestyle. And I'm a new channel, so some of those areas I haven't created detailed and dedicated videos to yet, but it's coming, baby. It's coming, don't worry. I'm popping out videos right now like hotcakes, okay? Also, as a disclaimer, my background is looking a little bland. I'm doing laundry right now, and my blankets are taking forever to dry, and I was not about to wait for them to finish to start recording this video because I'm trying to catch this nice sunlight by my window, and they may not be done until later today, the way that the dryer is working right now. So I'm just letting y'all know I do have blankets for my bed. Okay, y'all, so some videos back, a little ways back, I had a lovely person by the name of Bex E who left a comment on my video asking if I can make a video with suggestions on how to successfully pass flight attendant training, and I was like, that's something I can do. So that's what this video is going to be about today, and I hope y'all enjoy. I hope you find some valuable information that I can provide to you, and hopefully you'll take some of my suggestions and tips along with you to training. This video is also going to be for anybody who's interested in possibly becoming a flight attendant. I'm assuming if you clicked on this video, you are thinking about going into the career, or you've already received a CJO and you're preparing to go into training. And as a disclaimer, I feel like the tips that I'm going to lay out for y'all will apply to pretty much any airline, whether it's regional or mainline, whether your training is shorter or longer than the company's training that I attended becoming a flight attendant. So I think across the board, there's going to be beneficial tips regardless of what company you're going to apply for or what company you're beginning to go to training for. And also another disclaimer is I'm not like the top flight attendant in the world or anything, and I'm just fairly new into this role myself. So the tips that I am providing are things that I just observed when I was personally in training, and other tips that I've kind of taken notes on from other people who completed training successfully as well, and different things that they shared that has helped them that I thought was like, oh my gosh, that's actually a really good tip. I'll just write these down and add them into my video. So these are just a good list that I felt like is applicable. Of course, the tips that I'm going to provide are not going to cover everything, but it's just in a nutshell some good things to take with you or leave it. It's up to you. But yeah, here we go. So I'm going to be probably looking down a bit throughout the video because I have my little book right here with my tips written down. So obviously I don't have the best memory in the world, so I'm gonna have to look down to look at my notes. So yeah, so there are about 14 tips that I have for y'all, roughly. As I get to talking, I might come up with some additional ones. All right, so the first tip I have for you is going to be prepare as much as possible. Okay, this is one thing that I wish I would have done much better, because as I stated in one of my older videos, is that when I went to training, I started 2 classes earlier than my original assigned training date. And so I was scrambling last minute to get items for training, packing up things to take with me, getting my apartment in order. Granted, I was lucky because training was in Houston and I live in Houston, but still I had a lot of stuff I needed to get together, and I was running around town like a chicken with my head cut off, and I was stressed before I even got to training. So that's something I would highly recommend, is prepare as much as possible, save as many coins as you possibly can, because depending on what airline, most of them do not pay you during training, and if you are getting paid, it's not a lot of money that you're getting paid when you're there, because they're taking care of your room and board and some meals throughout the day. But still, like, most of us have expenses that we have to take care of back at home, such as rent, car notes, etc, etc. So yeah, save your coins as much as you possibly can. If you are the type of person that likes to cook, I highly recommend like getting a mini skillet or taking food with you that you'll be able to utilize for a few weeks, like perishables, things that you can heat up in the microwave, like noodles, cup of noodles. It's gonna come in handy, trust me, because you're not gonna want to keep spending money on food when you're at the hotel, because that adds up as well. So definitely take as many things that you can with you, but don't like overpack too. And also, like, once you get to the hotel, you can like order things off of Amazon, but keep in mind, like, I would also suggest on the other side of that, it's like to pack lightly, because when you're leaving training, you're gonna need room in your suitcases to bring back uniforms and other things that you've accumulated throughout those weeks that you've been in training. So pack enough, but don't pack too much, okay? Because you gotta make sure that you have ample amount of luggage and luggage space to go back home. Y'all, I even knew someone that had like their air fryer with them. People was in there frying chicken and stuff. So, and if you are coming like down with your car, that also makes more space for you to bring things with you, because you can stow things in your trunk. But be careful with having too many things in your car, because if you're not too familiar with an area, or just in general, like, you never know who's lurking out and about around the hotels, and you don't want your car broken into and having valuable things in there, or things that you would be very highly upset if they came up stolen. So also keep that in mind as well. You don't want your whole apartment in your car. My next tip is to create your own unique experience once you get to training. So once you get there, you're going to be in training amongst other people who probably already have a game plan of how they're going to attack training or how they're going to do things, and you may not really be sure, and that's okay. When you get there, like, fill things out and see what works best for you. Another thing I would suggest is that don't try and conform or apply things that other people are doing that you see going on, because all things are not great to mimic, and what works well for one person may not work well for you. So do what works for you. Create your own schedule and stick to it as far as when you ideally want to go to sleep, when you want to study, because once you have that ingrained into your head, it makes each day better, because you're already programmed to know, like, okay, at this time I'm going to eat, at this time I'm going to sleep, and at this time I'm going to study, at this time I'm going to implement some self-care. And of course, every day may not go exactly as planned, but if majority of the time you're sticking to that schedule, trust me, your mind and your body will thank you so much if you do that. Piggybacking off of that, I would also suggest to not think too deep into things, especially like going into training. I know there's so many like groups online, especially on Facebook, with people like giving tips and suggestions on how to prepare for training and what to do when you get there. Granted, a lot of these tips are very helpful. Like, here I am making a video giving tips that I want people to watch and listen to, but be very careful with how much you consume, because you don't want to get overwhelmed with so much information that it hinders your own unique and organic experience. If you go in there thinking that you know everything, or trying to apply every tip and suggestion that someone else has provided, it may not apply to that situation, or it may not apply to training anymore, because things in this industry change, things in training may change. So you can't go in there thinking you know it all and you got all the information in the bag. Like, be open-minded when you get there, and don't consume yourself with too much info. So just have a nice balance. Obviously you want to go in there prepared, but you don't want to go in there thinking that you got it all figured out, because you might be in for a rude awakening, honey. My next tip is take care of yourself as much as you possibly can. I am a huge advocate for implementing self-care, even if it's 10, 15, 30 minutes throughout the day. Take time for yourself, and don't take any idle time for granted, because you're gonna be so busy and you might be like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to watch a 30-minute show on Netflix. I don't have time to massage my feet. I don't have time to read a book. I don't have time to listen to my favorite album. Make time. Like, you have to. There's a bug and I almost went in my mouth. That threw me off. But basically what I was saying is make time no matter what for yourself. You want to make sure that you're showing up as your best self every day, because in training, it's so much stuff that's condensed into a short amount of time where you're going to be busy. Your brain is going to be working probably 24/7. You are going to be, you know, a lot is going to be asked of you during this short amount of time, and you want to make sure that you are proficient and efficient. And the only way that you can do that is to make sure that you implement some self-care and really get yourself reset, rejuvenated, and showing up as your best self every day when you go to class, showing up as your best self when it's time to do hands-on drills and written exams. You want to do your best and feel your best, and the best way to make sure you achieve that is to do what makes you feel good. So whether that's finding time to work out, going out to get your favorite meal somewhere, or setting time aside to talk to your friends and family. And I didn't write this down, but now that I said that, this is another tip, is to find a good balance on communicating with your family and friends. Like, if you're someone that's used to talking to your family and friends all day, every day, baby, in training, you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to probably set time in your schedule. It may sound crazy. Set a time in your schedule to communicate and converse with your family and friends, because you don't want to get too consumed with everything that's going on outside of training, and you may have some, issues, concerns, and things going on. We get it. Life does not stop because you're in flight attendant training, but it's also like you're there to achieve something, and you're only there for a short time frame. So some things you're gonna have to put on the back burner, and some things you're gonna have to minimize as far as what is getting most of your focus when you're there. So that's another tip. Hello, darling. Thanks so much for stopping by to watch this video. This is a reminder, a gentle reminder to please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, like as well, because it shows me love as a creator, and it also lets me know what content you're enjoying, so I know what to continue to create for y'all. Okay, where was I? What's the next tip? Okay, so along with creating a routine and schedule, it is so important to get enough rest, okay? Because you're gonna be up studying and in class for ample amount of hours during the day, and you're gonna be tired. So make sure you get some rest. Like, for a lot of people, you're going to training that's in a completely different city than where you live. You're meeting a lot of dope people. People probably want to go out, explore, and that's cool and all. If that's what you wanted to do, it to a minimum, okay? Because once you complete flight attendant training, you'll have time to go back to that city that you're really hype about visiting. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So be very careful about the things that you do when you're in training, because it's still an interview process. Just because you got your conditional job offer, remember that word in the front, conditional. You're still being watched, you're still being interviewed. Just because you have your conditional job offer does not mean you're a flight attendant yet. So don't forget that. The party is not gonna stop, okay? It's not going anywhere. You'll have time to do that. You'll have time, trust me. So yeah, just prioritize your sleep and set yourself up for success. So if you're well rested, you're probably going to be functioning more proficiently. You're going to not feel sluggish. You're going to be more alert and present when you're in class for lectures. So sleep is super important. Don't take it for granted. With all that, know that you're there to get your wings, but still make the experience something that's enjoyable. You're not like in boot camp. You're there to, yes, become a flight attendant, but you also have to not put so much stress on yourself to where you're like performing like a robot. Like, you still want to be human. You still need to laugh. You still need to get, you still need to exert positive energy. You need to interact with other people, so you're not just feeling like you're there and you can't do anything other than study and sleep. Like, no, you can you can have a little bit of fun. So definitely make the experience enjoyable, because it's something that you will remember hopefully for the rest of your life, as it is the entryway to this new career that you're thinking about starting. So you want to make it memorable, and you want to make it a pleasant experience in the most way possible, in the ways that you can control. And a lot of times that comes down to you connecting with other people in your class, taking time to maybe grab lunch or dinner with other people in your class, learning more about your peers and seeing what you have in common with others, because a lot of people that surround you may get based in the same city that you're going to get based at, and you're going to see these people again a lot of times starting off. So you definitely want to try and connect with people. Not saying everyone got to be your BFF, they don't have to be, but at least try to make the most out of the experience and the time that you have with the other people around you. The next tip is to trust the process and don't work ahead. Okay, you're gonna hear this term a lot, especially if you are going to training with the company that I currently work for. You're gonna hear trust the process quite often, and it's very cliche and redundant, but it's so true. Because once you first get to training, I don't know if other airlines are like this, but you'll get like a calendar, and you'll probably have access to pretty much all this homework assignments and all that right in the beginning. But don't overwhelm yourself with trying to study way ahead of the present week that you're currently in, because you're gonna get overwhelmed, and really, like, you're gonna have enough time, you're gonna have all the resources and tools you need to tackle each day and each exam as it comes. So don't do too much. Don't be trying to be, I don't even know the name, just don't do it. Just chill out, relax, take it day by day, and you'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine. My next tip is to be a team player. And that doesn't mean that you have to be friends with everybody. You're in training with a lot of different personalities and a lot of people who you may not really necessarily like, but you do have to respect and be cordial with. So don't feel pressure to like be super duper friends with everyone. Like for me, I'm a very chill, quiet person. I, talk to people who talk to me, but I don't overshare. I don't tell people my whole life. I'm there with one thing in mind. Okay, and I was to get my wings, okay, and mind my business. But there's some people who really are outgoing and love talking to people, and trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. But just know to have a very good balance between that, okay? As far as being a team player, I mean in the sense of like, if you see someone struggling with something and you have the ability to maybe spend some extra time studying with them or asking them what you can do to help them, because not everyone's going to grasp information the same way that you will or as fast as you will, and some people are just stronger in other areas. And if you're being helpful, trust me, other people will pick up on that, and we'll see that. Again, like I said earlier, it's still an interview process. So if your instructors are seeing you, taking some extra time to lift your classmates up, trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed, and it doesn't hurt to be a good person. But I also want to say, on the flip side of that, don't feel like you have to help everyone. Of course, you have to make sure that you're good first, and if you're feeling fatigued or you're feeling overwhelmed by something, you need to take a break. It's okay to say, hey, I can't help you right now, or no, I need to take a nap, like maybe we can get together later today. Like, don't feel like you can't say no to people. Know your limits and know your boundaries, because that's important too. Another thing I kind of want to take time to address is that some people have been flight attendants before and they're coming from another airline, or there might be some people who are going through the training process a second time because they didn't successfully complete training the first time and are there again to hopefully successfully pass. And I would like to say, for those individuals who you guys know are coming back, to be like cognizant and aware of their boundaries. So just because they've been a flight attendant before, or they've been through that certain aspects of training before, don't feel like they're obligated to help you. And they already have another layer of stress and pressure to successfully pass training if they didn't become successful before, and they may not want to talk about their experience, and that's totally fine. And a lot of times they can't even share a lot of information that you guys are asking them to share. So don't put people in awkward and uncomfortable situations unnecessarily, okay? Respect people, all right? My next tip is to be kind and respectful to others. So that not only goes for your classmates, but that goes for the hotel staff that's assisting you in the hotel that you're staying at. Be respectful, be nice, be kind. Mistakes happen. Things don't always go as planned, but that does not give you the green light to be rude to people, okay? Because you don't know what gets back to the company, and you just need to be respectful, period, regardless if it will get back to the company or not, because getting into an industry where hospitality is important, and if you're not being nice to other people, then baby, what are you doing? You're in the wrong place. So don't do that. My next tip is to not be afraid to ask questions when you're in class. Like if you don't understand something, or something's not clear, or something's not clicking, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like with my company, there was like a way that we can put questions anonymously on our phones, and then it could be asked in class or during a break or something, ask the instructor any questions, because you want to make sure that you're getting the content, you're understanding things so that you're well prepared for exams. So don't be afraid to ask questions. But on top of that, I would also highly suggest to do your homework, do your readings, because a lot of the questions you may have is probably going to be answered somewhere through the material. But if it's something that's not there, or something that's just not clear to you, don't hesitate to ask, just because it was covered in homework. Because some people make you feel like you can't ask questions in class, and yes, you can. Don't let people intimidate you from you grasping things. In training, you're going to see a lot of study groups, and I think study groups are cool. You're going to see some large study groups, and you're going to see some smaller ones. Just do what works for you, but don't feel pressured to be in a large study group. Like I was cool with studying with 2 or 3 people, and then there was some, this fly. And then there were some instances where I did larger groups when it was like more so a Q&A type of session, where we would just have a whole bunch of study questions and go around in a circle and answer them one by one. Like that's the time where I was in large study groups. But for the most part, I like to keep it very small and quiet. Do what works for you, but don't feel pressured to attend or be a part of large groups, because it isn't necessary. I even know some people who pretty much studied by themselves the entire time in training and was totally fine, and they would like here and there ask questions to a couple people in passing just to, you know, reinforce something, but for the most part they were studying by themselves, and that's cool, because I think you got to take in consideration your personality and work and what works well for you. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Stay true to yourself and don't conform to what you see the masses doing if you know it's not beneficial to your success. My next tip is to not overcomplicate things. Like don't stress yourself out by like, oh my God, did I study enough? Or oh my God, I need to be up for 10 hours today on my day off studying. Like, no, you're gonna burn out. You're going to stress yourself out even more. Like, I think, in my opinion, as long as you're doing your homework, you're reviewing it, and you're paying attention in class, like you'll be successful. Like don't overdo it, because you're going to create more nerves for yourself, and you're going to even be more stressed out mentally and physically. So don't overdo it. My next tip is to bring a piece of home with you to training. You might have some moments, or you might even have some days where you're not feeling your best, or you're feeling a little homesick, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I miss home. But if you have those little aspects that bring you comfort, definitely bring it with you. If it's something that is reasonable to fit in your suitcase, like it could be, I don't know, a blanket, or your favorite candle, your favorite t-shirt that someone gave you that you love from back home, just things that have value and sentiment to you. Bring those with you, because in the moments where you're feeling down, it's really good to pick out that pick-me-up and get yourself in a space where you're cool, calm, and collected. Next tip, like on off days, find a good balance of being social and not social. Like, granted, it's important to have self-care, and if your self-care is going out and treating yourself to some wine or a beer on your off days, so be it. You're grown, you can do that, okay? But don't do it too much to the point where it's excessive and it starts spilling over into your responsibilities and what you came there to do. It's okay to go out and hang out with some of your classmates, but just know it's important to have a balance. Like, you're gonna see people who are probably going a little bit too hard in the paint. You might see that, but don't let that get you caught up. Don't let that, you know, get you into trouble, okay? Because you're there for one thing and one thing only, and it's to get your wings. You are not a flight attendant until you get your wings. You can make it to the day before graduation and anything can happen. You might have went out the night before graduation, got too lit, and they done heard about it, and what? Next thing you know, you getting sent home the day before graduation. Like, don't think you in the clear because you make it all the way to the end and you didn't get pinned yet. You can still get sent home. Like, trust me, I've heard stories of people getting sent home for things that could have been avoided. So just really remember that every day, is that you came there for one thing, and it's those wings, and don't let nothing stop you from getting those. No distractions. If it's things that you can avoid it to the best of your ability, because this opportunity is something that you've been waiting on, and something you've been working hard to attain and achieve. And don't let some stupid moment, or, you know, something that's not really, something that doesn't really matter, possibly take away something that you've been waiting a long time to have. Don't do it. My next tip is to not get discouraged or mentally tap out when you have a day or an exam that didn't go well. Like, if you fail a test, like at least with my company, oh my gosh, these damn bugs. If you mess up on something, or you need to do something over, like, leave that in the past and show up as your best self the next opportunity you have. If you have another opportunity to redo something, because you don't want to get down in the dumps to the point where it's really impacting your ability to show up the way that you need to show up to kill it the next time. So there are going to be instances where you may miss something because your nerves might have got in the way, or you just forgot something. And sometimes it happens. We're human. Like, think about the times in high school or in college where you didn't pass an exam, or you didn't perform in a way that you knew you could perform, but that wasn't a true depiction or the reality of your abilities. So don't let, you know, small little hurdles get you down, okay? Because it does not define you. Another thing about discouragement, like if you happen to not get assigned the base that you ideally want, don't let that damper your experience, because you'll usually find out your base assignment before you're even all the way through training. Like for me, I spoke about this before in one of my previous videos, is that I didn't get the base that I wanted, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was sad initially. I was actually a little bit more than sad. I was upset. But look at me now, like, I'm still thriving. I'm in the city that I got based in still, as I wait for my probation to clear. And the base, as far as where I'm working, I love. To be honest, I don't really like this city, but I'm making the most of it. And I know that time is already flying as we speak, and I'll be off of probation in a few more months, and I'll be somewhere else. And like, that's the beauty of the job, is that you have the ability to move around, and everything is not always finalized. Everything doesn't have to last forever, and you never know what you'll experience and things that you'll learn if you're in a place that you never expected to be. So just be open-minded and don't get too caught up in being disappointed. You know, the initial sting, it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna last forever. So that's another tip I would give y'all. Take pride in your individuality. Take pride on what sets you apart. Take pride on your individual experiences that you've had from your walk of life, and bring that with you. Bring your skills that you've acquired with you, because you may initially think that you can apply it to this career, and you'll be very much so surprised. Like, I'm coming from a social work background, and y'all, when I tell you, a lot of my crisis management and dealing with different personalities and age groups comes in handy with this job. It comes in handy, okay? Whether you're coming from a background where you have to pay attention to detail, you're an accountant, you know, there's things that I will probably overlook because I'm more of a person that has like experiences thinking quickly on my feet, and you know, coming up with solutions right in the moment where I might miss some fine details. But if you're a person who, you know, has experience looking at fine details, you're going to bring something different to the table that's going to make the whole puzzle work, right? Like, we're not all going to be having the same strengths. Where I'm weak at, you might be strong at, and that's just what makes the wheel go round. Okay, we all got something valuable to bring to the table, so do not count yourself out because you're coming from a different industry. Okay, you got this. Okay, and so my last tip for those of you who may go through training and you don't successfully pass is to not get discouraged. Kind of piggybacking off of the last tip I had, is that if this is something that you really want to accomplish and attain, you wouldn't have gotten your CJO if you know, weren't someone that could be a great flight attendant. So just come back bigger and better, and don't give up. If it's something that you really want to do, you can apply again with the same airline if you got if you left still on good standing with the company, or if you decide that you want to apply with a different airline, that's cool too, and go through the process with them. But don't let, you know, one unsuccessful attempt keep you from achieving something that you really want to do. Because again, life doesn't stop because you're in flight attendant training. Sometimes outside experiences impact your ability to show up as your best self. Sometimes your nerves get the best of you. And sometimes it may not just be the right time. But if you don't successfully pass training, don't look at yourself as a failure. Don't look at yourself as like someone who's not fit for the job. Like, it could really be an array of other things that has nothing to do with your ability to successfully be a flight attendant. If it's meant to be, it'll be. So if you're thinking about applying again, if you're thinking about going to training again, do it. If you're watching this video, that means that this is for you, okay? So go after it, don't give up, and congratulations to all of you who have already received your CJO and are preparing to go to training. And if you are someone that's just interested in applying to be a flight attendant and you kind of want to know some tips to prepare yourself as you go throughout the process, best of luck to you as well. And if you have any comments, tips, suggestions, questions, leave them below. I am pretty good at getting back to people, and I love interacting with y'all in the comment section. I feel like that's the best way to start growing connections with you all. And again, I'm building a family here. I want to get to know y'all just as much as you're getting to know me. And yeah, if any of you have already received your CJOs and you have like specific questions or anything I may have missed that you think I might have some insight on, feel free to private message me on Instagram. And I'm here to cheer you on and help you along your journey. And thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video. I enjoyed making it for y'all and sending you lots of love. Did y'all see the phone? Sending you lots of love and light. So I hope that you guys all are doing well and having a blessed day. And if you're not, you're gonna be in my prayers. And I'm hoping that things improve for you. And I'm hoping that you enter a space where you're feeling more like yourself. You're feeling more joyous and feeling more optimistic about the world that we live in today. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace. Thanks so much for watching my video. I appreciate you. Please come back and see another one in the future.